Alright, so, I was supposed to be doing this originally after Lucky finished his run of MMBN 5, but, since he's having technical problems, it looks like we'll be doing this now. Yeah, I used to speedrun Valorant 5. I've not done that in quite some time. I've not actually touched the game in years, but, Tara asked me if I could show off the, progress chip gate, because I happen to have a few of them, and, a whole box full of chips. So that's what we're going to do. So they cut out all the menu options for this when they brought the game to North America, and they didn't release the chip gate. But for whatever reason, they decided to translate all of the functionality, so it actually works just fine on the American release of the game. So that's what we're going to do. So first off, we have to pick a Navi. I have a fair amount of Navi chips here, but I do not have all of them. So at this point, you just have to pick a Navi. Doesn't really matter which one. I'm just going to pick Iron Man because hopefully it'll work. There we go. So you're able to select your... Yeah. So here you can change what your buster does. Again, I don't really know, I've not done this very much. You can also battle if you have a second chip gate and a link cable, but I don't. So what this is a gauntlet of most of the different enemies in the game. It works just like Battle Network 4.5. And I know next to nothing about that game. So it's a default folder for each Navi. I believe that it does vary based on the Navi. The custom gauges is 3 different segments, one for standard chips, one for mega chips, and one for giga chips. I actually have some of everything here, so let's play with those. So unfortunately, the game is dumb. It activates the chip the second that the chip gate registers the chip. So because of that, you actually have to just put the chip halfway in and wait for exactly the moment you want to use it. Which is not as efficient as it could be, but it's a game. It does have limits. Yeah, I'm not controlling the net navi at all. So now that we have the full chip gauge, we can use a giga chip. Let's use this. I apologize that I'm very bad at commentary, but it has been a while. I believe dark chips count as a mega chip. So, I do have the Dark Sword physical chip, so lots of fun. Hey man, I'm not controlling the Navi, it can do whatever the heck it wants. So when you try to enter in a chip you don't have the custom gauge for, it just tells you that no, you can't do that. So this is all really cute and all. I personally don't find much content in this. I don't much enjoy the Navi not being in my control. So it turns out there is something much more exciting that we can do. So in the actual game itself, if you have the chip gate connected, you begin to see some different. I don't even remember which one. This is the one. Okay, there we go. So when you do have the chip gate connected, you start seeing some interesting UI elements show up. So we now see here at the top, so for each Navi that you've unlocked in the main story, this save file has done the whole story. So you can actually see the portraits of all 6 of the Navis of Team Proto Man. So I actually have the Navi chip here for everyone on that list except Medi, because Medi's Navi chip is ludicrously rare, and expensive, and I do not have that. So let me just get into a battle real quick. So you can do this at any point in the main story after you've unlocked any of the Navis on the team. So what I can do here is, now that I'm at the custom gate, the custom screen, I can just slot in a Navi chip, and for one turn, I'll be able to use the Navi just like it was a liberation mission. And then at the end of the turn, as you see, the Navi disappears. And you cannot use that Navi again, I believe, for the rest of the battle. The other interesting thing is what happens when a Navi dies. So I'm just going to switch here to Searchman, who has relatively lower health. And so when Searchman dies, it just switches back to Mega Man. So it's like extra health. If you somehow needed hundreds upon hundreds of extra health, you could just cycle through all 6 of the Navis on the team and continue to die as much as you wanted. But really, most people do not need that. Now, unfortunately, you cannot use the other basic chips, like Dark Sword or whatnot, that I have as physical copies. You can only use Navi chips in a battle. So, for example, I just slotted in Dark Sword, but nothing's happening because it's not a Navi chip. So, if you recall correctly, we killed off Searchman. And so now when we return to the game, we actually see a big X over Searchman's portrait in the top right. And I believe that this means that we will not be able to use Searchman again until we've jacked out. So I just slotted in the Searchman chip, and nothing happened this time. So I believe the X will go away, though, as soon as I jack out and jack in again. I'm trying to think if there's anything else super interesting. You can have net battles using the chip gate and using physical chips. You just need a link cable and 2... Whoa. You just need a link cable and 2 chip gates. And chips, of course, which I have all of that except the link cable, so unfortunately I can't show that off. I do not believe their HP carries over, no. And so after jacking out and in again, we see that we have Searchman back. But I'm pretty sure their HP refreshes, but there's an easy enough way to check that out. So that should have been, what, 130 it looked? So yeah, for whatever reason, when they were releasing all of the battle chips, they decided that Medi, Toadman, and Numberman needed some sort of special treatment. And so those 3 Navis ended up being much harder to actually get the physical chips for. And so, as we see, the HP did not carry over. So actually, if we look, back when I was really into this stuff, I spent a lot of time and effort trying to find exactly all the information I could, because there was very little information available as to where the different chips came from and whatnot. So here we see, these were some starter decks they came out with. And there's no such thing as the Toadman, Numberman, or Medi starter deck. And you can see that my image here for the Colonel starter deck is very low quality, because after 3 months of searching on the internet, that's all I could find. I have lots of other images here of various things. We have the... Actually, I think that worked. We have the very rare and elusive Medi Navi chip, which sold at auction several years ago. Last time I saw it, sold at auction for $400 or $500, I believe. So, you know, cool stuff. Very hard to get. The only way to get it and Toadman and Numberman was through booster packs. So here we can see the image of the Medi booster pack. This is at a convention, and then down here we can see the Numberman and Toadman booster packs. And those were the only way to actually get those chips. And then, of course, there's the kernel chip, which I do not have either. I have everything else, just not Kernel, Medi, Toadman, or Numberman. And so, if there's any other features, anything other people want to see that I can show off for the chip gate, I'll be happy to do so. And so, I imagine it would be decently useful, perhaps in a run. I had originally thought about trying to use it with the Kernel battle chip in a run of Kernel in the drill comm area, because I felt that the ranged Buster Shot would be much more useful there than just Mega Man's basic one. But other than that, once you hit the mid-game, there's not really much need for the chip gate. Yes, it's very easy. So each of the battle chips, it's essentially just a series of Boolean like yes/no connections, and so you can easily make a device that can emulate any chip as long as you know the proper combination of ones and zeros to emulate the chip you want. I meant to make one of those at one point, but I never actually ended up doing that.